Sometimes it's about the destination, and sometimes it's also about the journey that gets you to the destination. And that's what we're doing. We've heard that this train trip, which is Oslo, Trondheim, and then it'll be Trondheim back to Oslo again, 6 hours, I must tell you, but through the most amazing sort of scenery and mountains, at least that's what we've heard. So we're about to embark upon this rather pretty coloured train, a high-speed train apparently, and it's all decked out in the rainbow colours that we're now getting used to seeing absolutely everywhere in Scandinavia. But this rainbow bullet is going to take us through the mountains on what we're hoping is going to be a very interesting train journey. 6 hours on this train, and we've been madly taking photographs and videos of the snow. You know what's so silly is we're really showing ourselves as South Africans who are not used to it, because we're going, snow, snow, snow. And the Norwegians are rolling their eyes saying, oh, it had better thaw soon. So we're really giving ourselves away. We've left Obdal and we're now heading to the national park, and you can see how the scenery is really changing. It's thawing, but there's sort of snow all around us. We've been doing a lot of history, but today we are in the officially oldest city in Norway, because we are in Trondheim. And it's a town that goes right back to 997 AD, in the real era of Vikings. And it used to be called Nidaros. And Nidaros, if I'm saying it correctly, is still the name they use for the cathedral, which is one of the things you've got to go and visit while you're here. But basically, Bakklandet, which is the area we're staying in, is the most exquisite area of water and walkways and cobblestones, and all these restored, because there's been a lot of fires, old wooden houses along the way. It looks like so many of these places we've been to visit where it's just old history. But amazingly, Trondheim is also on the cutting edge of technology for a big university just around the corner. Classic Norway, the old alongside the new. This incredible and colossal structure behind me is the Nidaros Cathedral, and it's extraordinary. It's the most northernmost medieval church still standing, but it is also regarded as the spiritual heart of Norway, mainly because of its history. But around here are the legends of St Olav, he died in battle in about the 11th century, which was when this church was first built. He was buried here. He was exhumed during various wars. Now lies buried somewhere secret. But the stories of Viking wars and spirituality are all mixed up in this, making it, apart from an incredible place to visit from architecture and history, but also on the pilgrim path.
That's the famous rose window, which is the most extraordinary piece of art. It's not medieval, but the Norwegians regard it as an example of how the old and the new can work together during restoration.
This is something I'm so enjoying about Norway. It's a quirky little thing, but being a book lover, and the book-loving friends will enjoy this. Look at this. This is a book exchange shop. It's a place, but they're all over the place, and they're normally in telephone booths and things like that. And you just literally bring one of your books, and you exchange it. It's all done on a system of faith, but trying to think how this would work in South Africa, but I've certainly done it in Oslo and Bergen, and now in Trondheim. Here we go again. Not that there's many English books, I have to tell you, but it's such a quaint and cute idea to pass on books that you have disposed with. We're standing in the square, the torg, as they call it. But it's particularly interesting because a square obviously has different functions, but this particular one was built originally in the 17th century because they were so tired of all the fires that were constantly devastating Trondheim. And of course, it was all wooden houses. So this is perhaps one of the most interesting fire breaks in the entire planet. And looking over all of it is the founder of Trondheim. And he's right on top of his statue, Tryggvason, Olav Tryggvason, not the saint, but the guy who founded it in 997. This for me is such an interesting structure. It's a wooden house in a world that is surrounded by wooden houses, but this one's a bit different. Garden it is actually built by a wealthy widow way back in the sort of 1750s, more or less. In a time when everybody was living in wooden houses, she wanted the biggest and the best. So there's 100 rooms in there. And she didn't live in there very long before the government bought it. And here's where it gets interesting. Today, it is the royal residence when royalty is in Trondheim. And it is still used when they're entertaining, but it is literally one of the few royal palaces made completely and utterly and totally out of Norwegian natural products, wood. Here we go again. Another big hill to climb, and this one in Trondheim to get to the fortress. We're mad.